Okay. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Again, give all thanks and praise to the Most High Yah for getting us here safely, allowing us to observe His holy days in this holy month. So today it's basically going to be a continuation of what we started with yesterday, um, changing that, putting off that old spirit. So it's easy to just say, okay, put off that old spirit, but we all know how difficult it could be to overcome certain things that you got to put off. So today we're going to go through some scriptures and, you know, impart some wisdom that the scriptures give us through the Most High Yeshua on how to deal with overcoming and, as it says here, elevating to the next level. Who want to go to the next level? Everybody raise their hand. Want to go to the next level? So practicing humility, everybody's hand should be up because there's always another level that we don't know, might not know about, So that's Most High will. We'll go into further here, and everybody, you'll get something out of this, and we'll go to the next level. So the secret to overcoming, it's one thing to just say to overcome something, get over something, deal with something, but the process in doing it and how to do it, it's not always plain to everybody. So we're gonna go through the scriptures and see how some of the stories and things that happened to the scriptures and how they overcame it. So a question for y'all: what do y'all do to cope or overcome situations in your life when you encounter any kind of hardship or adversity? Anybody want to spit out what they may do to help them overcome anything? Music? Okay. Beautiful, yeah. Beautiful. Okay. Yeah, that's a really good outlet. We know that, it's a whole, as we mentioned yesterday, it was a whole book of Psalms. A lot of them are actual musical pieces that you're supposed to take on and they're supposed to cleanse and heal your spirit. So that's definitely one of the ways.
He actually told me that was not.
Okay.
But no, pray. Honestly, just pray. Every time something bad is going on, or anytime it's something that's out of my control, my first thing I do, I drop to my knees.
Beautiful. Wow. Anybody?
I write a lot. So I write poetry. I put my pain in my poetry, my situations in the poetry. And I always pray. If I can't go to the war room, which is my secret place, I do it within my being. I could be walking through town, and I go to that little closet in my mind, and I start praying. There was times I went in the library in the bathroom to pray, and I confront them and make them know to God and give it to Him because I remember the scriptures in my head. When we are weak, He is strong. So at my weakest point, I know the strength will come because I give it to Him.
That's right.
Yeshua's burden is real.
Hallelujah. Y'all saying something? Anybody else? You say you eat? You eat? Okay, that's how you.
I used to literally cry as kind of more. Now I literally be asking him, what do you need to do? Or what is it that I'm doing wrong? Or if I know I'm doing wrong, can you please give me the strength that I need for you to let you manifest this and let the spirit come in. Those four were gonna start to me go to be initially my way. And literally 99% of the problems that I've been facing, he's just showing me what needs to be done with me. And he's gonna use whatever, because it's not about the whatever, it's really about me.
Exactly.
Look at the help of what you need to do, what he says.
Absolutely. Yep. Anybody else?
I'll shoot her a text. She'll hit me with something that's leading back to the word.
Right.
I read. Now, before I read the word and other books based on what I'm going through. I have this one called about a lot of times
That's beautiful. See, everybody for the most part said basically what the scriptures say you're supposed to do when you got to cope with a situation. Moving forward, this is basically the premise of the whole topic we're going to be talking about, and we'll expound on the scripture. But I just wanted this one point right now. Read it real quick, Tom.
Matthew 21:17. But this kind does not go out except through prayer and fasting.
Right. So we're going to go through and talk about prayer and fasting, and what he was speaking to his disciples about, because there was things that they couldn't do, and they couldn't understand why they can do it, and how he was just able to do it. And so now we're going to hit some scripts to bestow that information and that wisdom on to you that he gives, so it empowers us to cast out the things that are in our lives. And once you get so good at in your life, you can cast it out and help other people in their lives. All right. So what is prayer? I heard everybody was like, prayer and this and that. So somebody want to break down, what their definition of prayer is, or if they know formally what it is.
So, in the sense, prayer is a connection, or it's included as a meditation. It's a line of communication from one pinnacle point to the other.
Good answer. Anybody else?
Prayer to me,
What he said?
actually, prayer to me is communication.
Okay.
Making your petitions known in
Mhm.
a suitable way, not repetition. But we have to also know that when we pray, ask for something, let it go. We constantly keep praying for it.
Mhm.
It shows a lack of faith. Because how can he give you something if you keep asking for it and you ain't receiving it?
Mhm.
You already know what you want. But as a child asks his parents for certain things, and that formality is prayer. Because to them, that's their higher power,
Mhm.
mommy and dad. They have no concept of the most high as a temple. Like, mommy, can I get some ice cream? Or can I get this to go to the store? It's a request. It's like prayer. It's what we do to the most high. Oh, Father, can you get me out of the situation? Oh, Father, can you strengthen me? Oh, Father, can you bless me according to your will? That's a form of prayer. Prayer is continuous of information is given from one person to another, most likely the most high.
And that's what's up, Jose. Basically, from my study, that's the most accurate definition. I mean, breakdown, because we got we're gonna go to the Hebrew here and pull it up. So it comes from the Hebrew word "na," and it says, "We pray, now please, used in entreaty or exhortation." Now, if we go down here, how this lexicon breaks it down: particle use submissive and modest requests. So to make a request, which in many phrases may be rendered, okay, that's it. But the basic thing about that it's going to break down to is making a request. I know, Tony, the Hebrew characters. You want to add anything like that would signify in the Hebrew characters that would
The noon and the aleph.
accentuate it?
The noon is a sprouted seed, which has the idea of continuance. And the aleph is a ox's head, which has the idea of strength. So that's the word for prayer there.
Yeah.
So I guess if you look at that from the ancient perspective, you have a strong continuance. You're going before the Most High with strength and with confidence, with intention, in a continual way. It made me think about the parable that that Yeshua talked about with the lady who was going before the king, where she kept on going back. He wasn't trying to do what she wanted, and then she kept on going back and back and back until he finally was like, okay. Just like somebody brought up kids, or mommy, can I have this? Mommy, can I have this? They keep on saying it. They keep on like, can I get some of this? Can I get some of this? Okay. Like, it's that continual, that strong continual petitioning.
No, I just typed it in real quick and show you other instances where it happens in the scripture. And as you can see, say, I pray thee. And they're not necessarily talking to the Most High that thou art my sister and this, and that. You see what people are going. It commonly breaks down to asking, like I said, to petition. Abraham said unto Lot, let there be no strife. I pray thee. Okay, so in an instance where we go into the Most High and we sit down and pray, it's ultimately we're asking him for something. All right, or petitioning him for something.
I'm just thinking.
Go ahead.
Isn't there a place in prayer where you're not just always asking, there's a place where you can quiet so that you can hear?
Oh yeah.
Like you may be trying to so that you're not always asking.
Oh yes, ma'am.
There's a place
Mm-hmm.
still and quiet in the prayer. You can see what you might be.
Yes, ma'am. We're gonna get to that. Oh yeah, yeah. We moving into that too. So absolutely. But you're right. You're right. All right, make this full screen again. If we can get Matthew 6 verse 5, we're gonna read a good portion of that. I want to read this definition. Let me get it for y'all, my bad. Starting that. All right. All right. Ready when you go.
Matthew 6, verse 5, and says, and when you pray, you shall not be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray standing in the congregations and on the corners of the streets to be seen by men. Truly I say to you, they have their reward. But you, when you pray, go into your room, and having shut your door, pray to your Father who is in the secret place. And your Father who sees in secret shall reward you openly. Something like that. And when praying, do not keep on babbling like the nations, for they think that they shall be heard for their many words. Therefore, do not be like them, for your Father knows what you need before you ask him. This then is the way you should pray. Our Father who is in the heavens, let your name be set apart. Let your reign come. Let your desire be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And do not lead us into trial, but deliver us from the wicked one, because yours is the reign and the power and the esteem forever. Amen. For if you forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father shall also forgive you. But if you do not forgive men their trespasses, neither shall your Father forgive your trespasses.
All right there. So, as we can see, and everybody knows, y'all's prayer, we learned it from a young age, that portion of the scripture. But you can see, we're accentuating. One of the points I wanted to bring out was where he says, to be not like the heathens, where they, I'm looking right at it, Emma. Oh, here it is, verse 7. And when praying, do not keep on babbling like the nations. O'Dade mentioned it too. Y'all know that we need to eat. He knows that we need shelter. He knows that we need food. So now granted, if you're in a situation where you don't have those things, you're on a lowly state, it's understandable. But a lot of times, especially in the world, oh, y'all, give me this bigger house. Give me this newer material thing that if the Most High is sustaining you at the moment, should that really be your main prayer? Especially if you're reciting this prayer, and he says, let me see where's it at. Let your reign come. Let your desire be done on earth as it is in heaven. So this is going back to humility. You're putting your desires and the things you want, especially in a carnal sense, to the side, and you going on a spiritual sense, and you saying whatever you want Yah's will to be, that's what you want to put first. That's the focus of it. Because he knows what you need. He knows what you need. But are you seeking the things that you need to get closer to him and to be the best person you can be? We're going to say the second part when we get to the thing. Anybody got any questions or comments about that? No?
They're saying, if I could just like, seek unto your heavenly Father, all things will be added.
Right.
So
That's a perfect precept.
first before your desires.
Right. Okay, if we can get Matthew 17 and 14.
Matthew 17 and 14. And when they came,
Hold on 1 second. Keep having to make it bigger and smaller so you can see it. 17. Okay.
through 21.
Yeah.
And when they came to the crowd, a man came up to him, kneeling down to him and saying, Master, have compassion on my son, for he is an epileptic and suffers badly, for he often falls into the fire and often into the water. And I brought him to your taught ones, but they were unable to heal him. And Yeshua answered and said, O generation, unbelieving and perverted, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I put up with you? Bring him here to me. And Yeshua rebuked the demon, and he came out of him, and the child was healed from that hour. Then the taught ones came to Yeshua by himself and said, why were we unable to cast him out? And Yeshua said to them, because of your unbelief. For truly I say to you, if you have belief as a mustard seed, you shall say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it shall move. And no matter shall be impossible for you. But this kind does not go out except through prayer and fasting.
Right. So the top ones, now in the KJV, the top ones is what? The disciples. Those are the ones who Yeshua taught, and then they weren't even able to do the things that Yeshua was able to do. Because why? He said that they had unbelief. They wasn't all the way settled in. Their spirit and their belief wasn't all the way up into there yet. Mm-hmm. And even still, and Yeshua was showing them, even though he taught them that to get to the next level for them, he said you gotta pray and fast. And that's why we're going over this topic, because the harder things, come on, man, the belief as a mustard seed will have the ability to move a mountain, which sounds impossible, but it says, and no matter shall be impossible for you. But it takes, everybody just can't get that. You're not just going to get there just reading the scripture. You have to put something into action.
I noticed that a lot of the people that did get enlightened, the people that I read about thus far, a lot of their enlightenment that they got with communicating with Yahweh, when Ezra kept asking more, he kept telling him to go fast another 7 days.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? I forgot that was my main scripture I was supposed to put in this lesson. I definitely forgot. I'm glad you brought that up.
He would reveal things to him, and then he'll be like, all right, you go fast another 7 days. It was like almost a month, and he was like, all right, you could go eat some of
The flowers,
but don't
specific
drink
flowers.
that. But
Yep.
I was thinking like with the fasting, as far as carnally, you think like you're gonna be hungry and stuff like that, or you're gonna miss it. Like when you're fasting, it's probably when I'm looking from that, that's self-control and that balance. It's like it's fully in your power. You're basically above that whole like mad thing. You need your meals, and you're giving straight focus to the purpose of what you're fasting for. Like it's really like a.
You just broke down half the lesson, because that's the point. Exactly. Because what.
I only said that because I was thinking about going now all my prayers is pretty much what can I do? in the
Joshua
world?
1:7.
But everything else will fall in place, but it's still, my carnal tell me it's hard, and that's what I'm praying. Right?
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to be like, it's hard or whatever. But the benefit of everything, everything else will fall in.
Right.
And I'm gonna think about that.
Because you got to think, as we went over before, or yesterday we went over humility. So now we're going to come to the Most High. We're going to pray to Him. We're humbling ourselves before Him. We already want His will to be done. And the Most High, the scriptures say He's what? A spirit. And His spirit dwells in us. Now, you hit a major point, which we're going to talk about, is, feeding that carnal body and that connection that it has to the spirit. So we just had, the Day of Atonement, right? So we all couldn't eat anything, but we were like, some of us looking at our watch, can't wait for the sun to go down, all these different things. But that's a time, well, not only that's a holiday where we're forgiven for our sins, but truly and honestly, we should be able to do that any day of the week.
It was really a mind thing, you thinking about it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if you didn't think about it, like I thought about it like twice at summer service when I came home, but the whole time my stomach wasn't even around. It's literally a mind thing.
Yeah, your mind's conditioned, I get up and eat this at this time and do this. But yeah, because you're real connected to your body, your physical. If you want to get spiritual, like you said, fasting and prayer, and what those things do, it gives you a stronger realization of just your spiritual sense. And then once you get more in tune with that, then you can control your carnal on a greater level. You got that?
Joshua,
Because we're gonna read that. Okay, let me ask a question real quick. But what are you praying for? So we have kind of already covered that. When Yeshua said fasting and prayer, a lot of people gotta know what to pray for. What should I be praying for? You can read that real quick.
Joshua 1.
Oh, my bad. Let me get it for y'all. I keep forgetting.
7 and 8. Joshua 1, verse 7 and 8.
All right. Okay. It doesn't let me skip the verse. All right, there we go. Okay.
Okay, only be strong and very courageous, to guard to do according to all the Torah which Moshe my servant commanded you. Do not turn from it right or left, so that you act wisely wherever you go. Do not let this book of the Torah depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night, so that you guard to do according to all that is written in it. For then you shall make your way prosperous and act wisely.
Right. So going back up here. Now it starts out. The reason I picked it. Only be strong and very courageous. This ain't it's not a light thing. It's not a light thing, and it's hard to do. We're talking about the next level here. Gotta be strong. And it says to guard and to do according to all the Torah. So it's very important. That's why I started out yesterday with talking about all these other books. The scriptures even talk about all these other books that's made out here. It's cool. But when you got to remember what's going to profit you the most in the meantime. If you don't know these tenets, know how to implement them and do them, all them other books is extra. You got to master this first. You make sure you read a little bit of this every day. And if you want to add another book, if you skipping on this, you skipping the whole point. All right. It says, do not let this book of the Torah depart from your mouth. So the things that you speak should prove that you know this book. Your actions and the words you speak, you like half of your wisdom when you speak, it'd be like, man, that sounds like that's in the scriptures, because it should become a part of your being if you study in this and you meditating on it as it says, but you shall meditate on it day and night, so to guard and do according to all that is written. So when Yeshua said fasting and prayer, which we're gonna get to the fasting part. Right now, we're just dealing with the prayer part. If you're meditating on this word, your prayers pertain to this word. Who said? I think you said it. Or was it you? It was you. You said that when you had an issue, I'm like, how do you deal with overcoming? And you said you find a scripture or a verse that relates to what you're going through. That's meditating on the word. That's how you solve your issues and your problems. That's how you overcome. It gives you the strength to do that. So after so long, you keep doing that. That issue or problem that you may encounter, the Spirit should give you the strength. As it says, only be strong and very courageous. Over time, it's not going to bother you no more. So now you become an asset to another brother or sister that's dealing with what you overcame. Hallelujah. Okay. And it tells you what the result is. For then shall you make your way prosperous and act wisely. You will be a person that people come to for advice, not a person that comes to you for gossip and things that are not fruitful. The scriptures say, we're supposed to watch our conversation and things, that we give ourselves over to. That's,
The word is very therapeutic. Sorry.
oh no, go ahead.
The Bible is so therapeutic. Like there's so many. I'm already in. Just finished up Nehemiah. There's already been so many like connections and therapy sessions throughout these stories and scriptures that you can actually relate real life to.
Mm-hmm.
Like real life today is relatable outside of just the curses and the connection with Israel as far as like just even the pieces, like you can really connect to everything. There's so many therapy sessions.
Absolutely.
Like you can read something, and like you said yesterday, you can read something 10 years ago that you read again in the classroom today.
Exactly.
This is like the scripture, the word, and the lives that is truly like really.
Right. And it's continual. That's why it's called the living word, It's the reason why it's put together like this, and it always relates. You can always find a situation to overcome, and like scripture say, there's nothing new under the sun. Our ancestors went through. They might not have an iPhone, whatever, but the situation, they, as humans, it's the same thing. The Most High, when He put it forth, guess what? We all need to eat. We all need sunlight. We all need shelter. It's been like that since we were made. So there's, similar problems, relationships between people. That never changed. All right. So meditation. I think Joshua covered that. Hold on. Okay, I'll just go over the definition for the. I'll do the Hebrew and just a regular definition. I usually like to go over both, because sometimes we'll read it and it'll give you a deeper meaning when you look up the English word too, in addition to the Hebrew. First, we'll start with the Hebrew one. So to meditate is Haggah. So saying to moan, growl, utter, muse, mutter, meditate, devise, plot, speak. Meditate, devise, imagine. So especially with murmur. Me and my wife used to talk about, you talk to yourself. Everybody talks to themselves. I'm like, you're crazy if you don't talk to yourself. People be like, oh, they don't think I'm crazy. I'm talking to my. Nah, you supposed to be working things out in your family. Yeah, what's on your mind?
When you're tweeting and you're saying statuses, you prove that you talk to yourself.
Mhm.
You prove that you talk to yourself.
Right. So
There's healthy talk and there's unhealthy.
Absolutely, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And how you address yourself in different contexts.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Because I was just saying, we ain't been in this thing long, but I'm realizing that I'm spending like 100 times a day, right? And so as I'm recognizing that side, I'm dropping right into repentance
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So even though we're still fresh in this thing, I'm noticing that the things that were popping into my head aren't popping in as frequently.
Right.
It's almost like I could feel the Holy Spirit building that temperature of the fire is getting hot.
Yeah.
Right? And so as long as I stay within that mind space, then I'm okay. My furnace is heating up, right?
Right.
But the moment I step out of that, it begins to start cooling down. Right? So
Exactly.
I'm not able to maneuver through this thing as easy because all parts of myself come with me, right? I'm a father, I'm a brother, I'm a husband, right? I'm a neighbor, I'm an advocate, right? So I take all of those things with me into whatever problem I'm addressing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the part of my mind that addresses the problem that helps me get through. So I'm trying to train my brain to address things in the way that he developed me versus how I would do it. So I don't know, I feel like I just started that one, so I'm gonna stop.
Oh no, you're good. No, this is
I was going to just add, when we think about this word that means to meditate, you've already read. It says verse 8: This book of the law shall not depart out of your mouth, but thou shalt meditate on it day and night. So you read it, and now you're kind of murmuring it to yourself.
mm-hmm.
You're groaning. It's not like somebody else might just they hear you murmur. But like I'm just saying the word groaning, muttering, to speak. It's something that you're kind of rehearsing to yourself. And you're thinking about the law. You're thinking about the ways of the Most High. And that's kind of day and night. So throughout the day, you're kind of rehearsing, whatever it is that you dealt with kind of, throughout the day. And when you think about it from that perspective, that helps you to deal with people and situations that's going on in your day. When you got the law of the Most High and you're muttering it to yourself and you're thinking about his will and his ways to yourself, and then somebody come with some foolishness or whatever, instead of jumping into the foolishness, you're already on the character of the Almighty because you've been muttering this thing, groaning it to yourself throughout the day.
Almost like that marinated.
It's marinate.
Exactly.
That's marinating in some spiritual juices.
Right.
But I know for me, I do a lot with anxiety. Like, I do with anxiety a lot. So, the one scripture that always comes to me is anxious for nothing but supplications and requests to the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
No guard your heart, that whole spiel, whatever. I'm not verbatim, but that's what's in myself. So that's my go-to. So whenever I'm starting to get anxious and worried about certain things, and the other one is not worried about your life. So I kind of like just talk to myself in that regard, and it definitely works. It definitely works.
Yeah, because we gotta think like when we come to the faith and we get some information, that's a part of the Holy Spirit brew. That's like the first step to it. You got to accept it. But then, for instance, if you take a seed and you go plant it and you pour soda on it, how effective you think that's going to be? Right. You got to put the right stuff on it.
It's a little water and soda, ain't it?
It is, but
Some junk in there too.
yeah, it might kill it more so, And this is like a transition kind of into fasting too. But when you got that spirit, you get this information and you start studying this book. And when you meditate on it, you're putting the right things you need on that seed, that holy seed that's in you to grow, the more you meditate on it. And if you're not doing it, if you're doing other things in the world, it's a good thing. Like you said, a big thing you mentioned, as you got the word, now you see how many times you sin in a day. That's a good revelation for yourself, for anybody to be like, okay, now you're able to govern yourself accordingly to righteousness. And as you continue to study the word, you become stronger, because that's the point. Yeshua wasn't sin for the man that knew the law. He wasn't sent for the perfect man. He was sent for us. We ain't perfect. But we got to know how to continually water that righteousness that's in us so it can grow and we can become that perfect man that the scriptures speak of.
That's the thing you said you showed yesterday, where it said for the heart of man is wicked or something like that.
Mhm.
What I noticed is anything outside of the scripture, or like we watch a lot of like we do devotion at night, Crystal from a lot of like word, like word like stuff on YouTube that's like in the word, like studies and stuff like that. So we're not studying that type of thing to watch.
Mhm.
Anything outside of that I noticed. It's all it doesn't feed anything to that aspect. It's the total opposite.
Mhm.
Anything other than that, feed off of straight carnal stuff. You know what I mean? Whether it's for me like talking about or for somebody else thinking this other spirit, but anything outside of that, it's like it's all negative. Nothing about it being positive. Unless it's like natural life outside. You know what I mean? Like something outside as far as like being out here and everything is natural. They're doing just doing his job. Nature doing his job. Anything outside of the work or study is always get your thoughts somewhere else.
Yeah.
Get your focus on something else.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna admit, I'm gonna go to a whole tangent, but you're right. Like when you take yourself outside of the book and filter your thoughts, and you stop filtering your thoughts through it, like it said, Joshua, if you let the words depart from your mouth, because they shouldn't depart from your mouth, that's when all this other stuff will take you and your distraction, like you said, you'll fall back into the things that you're trying to fight, which is rough because you gotta go to work, you gotta deal with people. You might have a situation where it's not easy to just separate yourself. Sometimes you got to overcome that thing head on, but these are the tools that we got to use to give us the strength to overcome it. So the English English definition, meditate, to think deeply or focus one's mind for a period of time. So think, we all need to be focusing on the Most High, on Yahweh and Yeshua and what they taught. It's a focus. All right. And it says for a period of time. And it really I need to be as long as you could be at all times, really. We all gotta work and things that take us out of that. But when you got the time to do it, that's what you need to have in the back of your head. In silence or with the aid of chanting, for religious and spiritual purposes, or as a method of relaxation. Yeah, because you can meditate on spirit. I think you mentioned it too. It's relaxing. It's therapeutic. You read these things and they calm and soothe your spirit. It says to think deeply or carefully about something. Like you just can't read the script and then, oh yeah, I know the story of it. But you can, these things that, was written, you can implement in your life. It transforms you. That's what you feed yourself. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I forgot one time I was like, wow, I was having like probably worried about the message behind it is so like chastising.
1 Kings 3 and 5.
But what Kyle was saying, it's important to understand where the letters come from, who is going to, context, and all that. That's true. I understood it on a different level. And I've never heard it broken down like that. But you want to understand anything, you got to know where it's coming from.
Yep. So everybody know about Solomon. What made Solomon great? What was so great about Solomon?
That's what he asked for. He asked for now.
Exactly. Now we're gonna read the account, but we'll read it and then I'll comment on it. You ready?
1 Kings 3 and 5. At Gibeon, Yahweh appeared to Shlomo in a dream by night, and Elohim said, "Ask what I should give you." And Shlomo said, "You have shown great loving commitment to your servant David, my father, as he walked before you in truth and in righteousness and in uprightness of heart with you. And you have guarded before him this great loving commitment, and did give him a son to sit on his throne as it is this day.
Oh, my bad. Not bad.
And now, O Yahweh, my Elohim, you have set up your servant to reign instead of my father David. But I am a little child. I do not know how to go out or to come in. And your servant is in the midst of your people, whom you have chosen, a great people, too numerous to be numbered or counted. Shall you then give to your servant an understanding heart to rule your people, to discern between good and evil? For who is able to rule this great people of yours? And the word was good in the eyes of Yahweh that Shlomo had asked this. So Elohim said to him, because you have asked this, and have not asked long life for yourself, nor have asked riches for yourself, nor have asked the life of your enemies, but have asked for yourself discernment to understand right ruling, see, I shall do according to your words. See, I shall give you a wise and understanding heart, so that there was none like you before you, and none like you shall arise after you. And I shall also give you what you have not asked for, both riches and esteem, so that there shall not be anyone like you among the sovereigns all your days.
That's it. So that's what made Solomon one of the greatest men to walk the earth, because even though he didn't initiate the prayer, it says at Gibeon, Yahweh appeared to Solomon in the dream by night. He appeared to him and asked him. Solomon wasn't laying down and then he prayed, because it also says, ask what I shall give you. He came, which we know, as we went in the first part, a form of prayer is to ask, right? So he, Yahweh came to him and said, what do you want? And the humility of Solomon, look, when you think about a king, you think about a king ruling, get over there, and I got my servants and all this. But look at the humility of Solomon when he's like thinking about the people first. Right. He wanted the knowledge to be able to judge rightly, because that's what you want. Like the court system. Especially one of us go up in there, you don't know what they might say or sentence us to. There'll be all kind of injustice you've seen through history that prove that they don't operate in a just manner. They don't. Those judges don't go and pray to the Most High, that I make the right judgments today. You think they doing that? No, they got their law books out, and then this is your offense about money. Exactly, it's about money. Put locking us up in there. But as we can see, this will be the type of king in which later on came Yeshua, who had that heart, was humbled himself down to our level to speak with us one-on-one, face-to-face, to be exalted. So this is the tenets that we got to look at when we're praying. Even the Most High came to him. What do you want? No, he said, you didn't ask for more riches. You didn't ask for your enemies or nothing. You just asked for wisdom. That's what. So back to the slide here. Let me go. How I go back here? Wait. But what are you praying for? Because we're still in prayer. So these are the things that we need to be praying for. That wisdom to further push us all along, so that we can deal with ourselves, those around us, and the Most High in a better manner. Anybody got anything to add to that? Tom?
Yeah, I mean, this when you think about this life that we live in terms of this new covenant experience we have with the Ruach HaKodesh, we talk about wisdom with Solomon here asking for wisdom. He's asking for the character of the Almighty. He wants to be able to rule in a way in which the Most High will rule. He's asking for the Most High's will to be done on earth as it is in heaven, like we've seen what Yeshua has said with the whole prayer. When we think about, how we're supposed to be living our lives, That's what that even means. When we think about the idea of let your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. We need to allow the Most High to work through us to the point where we're walking around and being literal manifestations of the Almighty in this earth. And when that's what our prayers are, when that's what our communication is with the Almighty, that's what the Most High wants for us to be doing, on a constant basis.
Oh yeah. Yep. Okay, so now we're gonna go into fasting. If nobody has anything else in regards to prayer. That makes sense, everybody, in regards to prayer. When we go to the Most High.
Like what you were talking about as far as anxiety. I don't just go to a prayer, but I do like an affirmation that I put as well. Because when I started, I was doing like a chronic anxiety to where I couldn't drive. I had an attack. So basically, I was to my mom's house for a year because I kept having anxiety attacks. So when I decided, I was like, I didn't understand it. I didn't understand it as far as like it's a spiritual thing. It's the money. So like with the scripture you brought out about the lunacy. So I didn't know that mental health and spirituality basically like coexist. Until I got to the word. So basically when I was ready to fight it, I started reading Genesis where Isaac blessed Esau and Jacob and he did it with his mouth. So the Most High basically was like, you made me tell me like you have the same ability to like speak blessings over yourself. So just like you said, life and others in the power of the tongue. So if I'm saying I have anxiety and start saying I don't have it. I started fasting and I started saying affirmation like 3 times a day when I started to get anxious. And then literally, at one point I felt it leave my body. So, but because of the situation I got into, a bad situation, but it came back. So, I'm sorry.
No.
But it was like a problem when you like put yourself in a situation. So I started to get it. But I still like to do the affirmations and everything. But I was just trying to get out like if you can speak like the prayer, like the affirmations, say this prayer, like it comes like speaking life over yourself, and it'll be like this.
Absolutely.
Like depression and discouragement. I look at it like that's all a spirit.
Exactly.
Like, even though it does exist, but it's a spirit. Like discouragement, I don't know what scripture it is. It says that we say they're strong. It's when you're down and you're like depressed or whatever situation, that's not a healthy. Like that emotion, and emotion is a devil's playground.
And what brings to mind that image that you had on the screen when it's like you were talking about darkness and light.
Yeah.
And so when we're out of the light, we're out of the love of darkness.
Right.
And darkness is right. It is good. You don't know what's coming from where, right?
Exactly.
But once we step into the light and the light, right, then that pushes away all those other, because that, what God also was suffering from depression and those different things. But now that you mention that, honestly, I have had one of those moments ever since I've been understanding this new understanding.
You're not even going to allow it. Like,
In the person,
you're not going to allow it. When I go through my little spurts, like it doesn't go to how it used to be. Because your spirit, I don't want to shut that off. You know you're not even supposed to be there. So even though it is important, it's like it might feel like the version might be wrong, and I fight with it, but it's not like I can't consume it because I know that. That's not right. You can't do it.
when I read this book, this domestic community, I'll say Yeshua, but it's easy. But it's like most times when we experience that worry, that stress, depression, we're taking him out of his place, putting ourselves in that place, and that's where that anxiety and depression just come from because we're not meant to handle that. That's not meant for us to carry.
Yep.
So we're taking him off his throne. We're taking ourselves there and yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you gotta give it over to him. That's and that's
Just walk, like it's easier to bounce back. Like before, I was muddled in that and stayed in that place.
Mhm.
But now it's like I'm just
Yo,
easier
check
to
this out.
figure it out.
You might go through it for a couple days to realize that, hold on, I know.
Oh,
Right in my life. I
sure.
know better. Yeah, I know better. Yeah, that's how, because I will do like a doubt. And he'll say stuff, and then I might be so mad, not mad, but more like hurt or upset. And I'll think about it like, no, I'm not thinking. And I guess I was doing
Yeah,
it.
it's over, like, I mean, that's what they were saying before as well, right? Like, once you pray about it and give it to him, don't pick it back
And
up.
don't even worry about it. That's not worry.
Don't even worry about it.
What you pray, you don't have faith. It's not faith.
Right, you ain't got to keep saying it. Right. You ain't got to, he knows what we
Let
at.
it go.
right.
That's where the faith comes in. When you let it go, you pray, you let it go, and that's the faith that you have to believe that you're going to make that happen. But when you don't do that, you're not practicing your faith. And you're not testing your faith.
Yeah, so but then on the other side of that coin, I'm thinking of my children, right? If you don't get forgiven, you said you was gonna do, they be like, come on, daddy, you said, baby, come on, daddy, you said. So if we take that language into the faith language, right? We still gotta, like, Most High, you said, I'm trusting your word, you said, and if it's not, it's something I'm doing to let me know what I'm doing so that I can change that, so that I can receive that blessing in my promise.
I think sometimes when we think about the idea of prayer and kind of the idea of kind of repeating a thing, it might not always even be for the Most High. Sometimes it might just be for your own self. When you keeping those thoughts in your own mind, reminding yourself that you're giving it to the Father. Not so much as to say, well, I got to keep on saying it so that he can do it. But you reminding your own self that he gonna do it. Because we forget, we get easily distracted.
Yeah.
Or a lot of times it's reminding yourself that this is just like just admitting and repeating. Like one of my things I always ask is to continue to just get order my steps and strengthen my heart, because my heart is not where it's supposed to be at. I ask that daily. It's not that I don't have faith in it. I know where I stand at spiritually. So it's not about I believe it's good. I know where I'm at, and I literally know where I need help at.
The question is you able to accept not getting your prayers answered according to your own will outside of God's will? That has happened to me many times, and I got upset. I'm like, man, when you gonna do this? God's will. Then gradually, I was shown this is not God's will. You can't go that route. That too. Because I prayed for something years ago. I didn't receive it until years later. But it was revealed to me that was your time. But just because you didn't receive it during those times, you pressed it, didn't mean I didn't already know what you needed. I had it for you at that time. But some things he's not going to give you if it's out of his will.
Right.
That's just like you would tell Moshe, I'm not giving you my gun. You crazy? Daddy, you shoot that gun, man. What? You gotta be a man? No, I'm not giving you that gun. That's not my will. I would never put this in your head, especially right now. So those are type of things. Guess what? As you get older, it'll be time.
What's that?
I'm learning at first to just start with, like, before I found myself, like, when I was more so not like, I always prayed and it would make me a and I wouldn't feel comfortable because it's like, I would tell myself, like, don't go tell me about this, like, my regular. I be feeling like my prayer should be selfless and always connected back to doing his will. It should never be just about me. If it's doing his will, he'll make sure I have what I need.
Exactly. Yeah.
To be about it.
Yeah, that's what made Solomon great, and you've seen that when you make it about him. He said, "I'll add that other stuff to you, just because you're doing the right thing. That's the right thing." All right, so now we're gonna tie it in, because it seems like everybody got the concept or the gist of praying, but now, because praying, I don't want to say it's easy, but it's easier than fasting. Now this is where now this is where it really turned up. Being a glutton, that taste. We all do it. Yeah. Let it go. Yeah. We was eating that all week. Yeah.
Meat lovers.
Right.
It's all that.
Yeah, it was though. It was good. Right. See, yeah, and exactly. It's like I ain't eat all day. I'm starving. You got kids in Africa ain't ate all week, and they probably eat a little sandwich and chill and be cool. We like, I want 2 pizzas.
Yeah.
You want wings with yours? Right? Worry about 3 pizza and another pizza. Oh man, I ate like 2.5 slices of pizza and was done. You know what I mean? Yeah. We could have really probably got 3 or 4 pizzas between all of us and been good. You know what I mean? So, but that's right. Uh-huh. Yeah. Hey, but you know, this is the next step that gets you to the next point, because this is the hardest one. Even the ones he taught haven't even mastered it at this point that they're at, that he had to let them know, y'all not praying right, y'all ain't fasting. So now we're gonna go into it, because this is the real cheat code secret of the thing. I can do a whole thing on this. I might have to put up a whole thing. That go ahead.
Before you go into that, so is there like a structured prayer that we should follow, like request, submit?
Well, you need.
Structure.
Tone might have a better way to answer it. I'm gonna say, as long as you study in this book, because like we went over prayers to ask the Most High. There's a lot of concepts. There's a lot of things you might need at different times. You might need different strength in your spirit in different areas. So if it's a certain part of the book that can help you in a certain area, and that's what you ask for. But you should constantly be studying the book. And we read in Matthew the 6th chapter how you go and pray. Make sure it's off to the side, and you're really being sincere with the Most High, and just really meditate. Meditate on the book is a form of the prayer, And as you get through it, everybody's spirit is different. Everybody needs different things to elevate them to the level that they need to be with. The power to put off whatever demon they might be fighting. So one prayer or one thing might work for me, it might not work for you. Tony, you want to speak on that?
I think that when we looked over at Matthew chapter 6, we've seen the Master's Prayer over there. Some people might think about the prayer as something that you say this, right? You say what he said over here. But then also there's a thought process of this being kind of an outline. And so when you look at that, he starts off as basically praise towards the Father. You're dealing with the Father, you're giving him his praise, you're setting him in his place, you're keeping him in the place where he is. Then you deal with, you want for his will to be done, right? You deal with what he wants to be done. And then now you dealt with what he wants, then you start talking about what you want, your daily bread. Then it deals with forgiveness, right? And then it deals with, how you're to walk, lead me not into temptation, right? So it's like, so you could look at that in 2 ways. Like I said, you can look at it as like you just go ahead and read that through like that, or you could look at this in terms of that's the manner in which you pray, in terms of how you're praying as far as dealing with the Most High first and on down the line. So So it's really kind of like an individual, personal kind of a thing, right? Like how we just was on what we did on just this morning, and I went through the Amidah. The Amidah kind of goes along those areas when you're dealing first with the Most High and His praise, and then it goes down to through. It gets into forgiveness. It gets into restoring the Most High's order and all of this, and so it's just really kind of what works for you, right? What is it that kind of gets you in the right frame of mind where you're able to concentrate on the Most High and bringing it downward like that. So it's just I wouldn't say that there's like a law that says you do it's got to be like this, that, and the other thing. Even when we look at the Master's Prayer, even that is it's open for interpretation, I would say. But I think the key element is that that's part of your routine, is dealing with the Most High. And over here, it's not all about give me what I need, right? It's kind of a full spectrum of things that all has to be dealt with.
Yeah. So, question. Well, I'm gonna ask what is fasting, but first, what is food? Say it again. I just asked, what's food? You can answer how you want. Okay, I like that. Anybody? Fuel? Fuel your appetite. Okay. What she say?
Delicious delicacy.
Oh, delicious delicacies. Okay, they could be.
Food is a necessity of growth, rather physical or spiritual, but mainly spiritual. Because
What you do? Google that.
No.
Okay. I'm bad. I'm messing with you all day. I mean.
Every word that comes out.
Right. That's where we going. Right. That's where we going.
So that is letting you know right here. Physical food is not going to make you grow spiritually or broccoli, as I said.
Right.
But however, there is Ruach food as well.
Right.
And that comes from reading and hearing the word of God.
Right.
Which brings you into faith, which causes that food to help you nourishment in your growth in the spiritual realm.
Exactly. So, in this sense right here, though, we talking about physical food, though. We talking about food.
Oh, but we eating today? That's physical. I need that.
So we can start that out with the Oxford, because Google uses Oxford Dictionary. Food, any nutritious substance that people or animals eat or drink, or that plants absorb in order to maintain life and growth. That's what we're about to talk about. That's what we're talking about right now. She said this is a theory. Nah, this is what we about to get into right now. We eat words. Yeah.
Well, nature never stopped growing as far as I watched this thing because terrorists are still they're feeding fish farms, they're feeding them. I go look up some fish and the way they're feeding these fish is ridiculous. Like the food that they were eating here.
It's not natural.
They didn't stop growing. So it's enough to feed no matter how it's so like basically like I like it to stay delicious because that's probably what food is really
That is true.
Right.
Tilapia, I love tilapia. I found out the cornbread tilapia is bad for you because they're feeding them other things. You know?
So tilapia is not even a fish. It's a man-made fish.
They just make
Like they use tilapia to make them like.
Right.
They use it to make like it's not a
Right.
fish.
All right. So yeah. All right. We ain't going there. We ain't going that far with it because this can be a whole topic in itself. I'm talking about food. We ain't going into food though. Just a little bit. I'm breezing over it because the point is fasting. All right. So let's not go all the way because that's a whole lesson in itself, right? But the key points, as mentioned, any nutritious substance that we should eat, drink, maintain, and then to maintain life and growth. So just a quick overview, which most people notice and all that, but to set up the premise and moving forward, most of the stuff we eat is not food. Let's keep it a buck. Most of the stuff we eating is not food. It's not biblically based food. We eating westernized diets. That's why this country is the most obese, got the highest rate of all diseases, you name it. And the craziest thing is what? Our people lead in all the diseases that you can name, especially that pertain to us. Maybe not skin cancer or something like that. You know, we have melanin, you know, different things. Not every disease, but for the most part, if it involves consuming something and it contributing to disease, we lead in it. And it's interesting that the Most High gave us a dietary law that we should be keeping, and now we suffer the worst for not keeping it.
I watch working in pharmacy. I watch, and I keep, I'm so depressed. I don't like to see my people come in, really don't say about their high blood pressure pills,
Mhm.
their diabetic, they're like, I'm talking about really be going crazy. I'm they're like, they're out of their supply, the 30 supply that they got, out of the 30 days.
And they freaking out.
They're going crazy, like really dependent, and it's mainly our people.
Yeah.
Mainly ours.
Yeah.
You got a couple of the other ones that might be the boxes or under control, but they're strictly on these substances that help them with the control their high blood pressure and their diabetes.
Right.
So they never have to change their diet. I don't get that.
Exactly. The money. That's what you get about it. Pharmacy. That's what it's all about. Money. Hey, real quick. Imagine if all doctors turn into herbalists and nutritionists. How many doctors would there be? Who would need to go to the doctor then? Who would need to be cured and treated for this, and that, and have an overflow of money to get a prescription, and insurance companies and how much they make off of it? And so imagine, and the number one the group that they benefit off of is us. Why? Because what the scriptures say, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. So you're going to destroy yourself giving in, watching the new Big Mac coming out. Yeah, you know, 2-for-1 deal, you know, being gluttons, all that. Oh yeah, all that's fake. I ain't say all it's fake, but it's misinformation. Yeah.
Just to touch on to the now a bit. Wasn't dairy something that was good?
Now look. This is how I put it. I won't say all dairy is bad, but for instance, you go straight to the cow and drink it from the cow, not the pasteurize, because what they do when they pasteurize this stuff, they bleach it, they use these enzymes, and these things your body can't process. It be pus, blood, all that stuff in the milk, and they just filter it through, and you take it home, drink, and think it's cool, it's white. Nah, that was processed, and then that's why they can produce so much and keep the shelves. And then they last what milk, a week, 2 weeks, something like that. It's refrigerated. Nah, you're supposed to be drinking it right from the animal if you're gonna drink it. If you're gonna do it like that.
She was like, one of her friends, I guess they were getting something to eat. She's like, oh man, I want some dairy. And she was like, why? Or whatever. And she was like, my dad owns a farm. So like somebody who grew up on a farm, whose dad owns a farm, and said, I don't do dairy. So I can only imagine what she's saying for her to even say that. Like, I don't do dairy.
Right.
I grew up with one. I didn't have one.
Could you get Genesis 2 verse 9? Right. So we've been disconnected and moved from our natural way of eating. Even when I studied, because going into this, and I'm always learning. My free time, I'm always putting informational stuff on. And you look at other cultures, whether it be Chinese, the Indian nations, and all that. You look at their diets. No wonder they are thin, and they live longer, and the inflammation and all those things and different diseases are not even in their culture. It's because of their diets and their food, right? And with our dietary law, we can have the similar. Because look, these other nations, even though they didn't, as a group, they didn't get the commandments as we did. Obviously, we needed it because look at us. Now, granted, it's part of conditioning because we've been in captivity and we've been reprogrammed to think that pig is a delicacy on Thanksgiving and Christmas, and they get this stuff. Yeah, chitlins. The garbage of the animal is a delicacy. Stink your whole house up, but give me some hot sauce, and it's amazing. Yeah,
That's all you need.
that in my house, that's how it went down.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
how
my grandfather used to say, you eat everything from the pig except for the sound that it makes.
Dang.
Like a year ago today, popped up. Did you know when I posted that when I was reading out my chicken last year? I came across that post got on sure. So I was cleaning out my chitlins. And I came across the anus. So I took a picture of it, and I'm like, I don't care, I'm still gonna cook these.
See where viral? Oh man.
I'm making my bowl now, and I'm like, when I think back to the English, because like my coworker, I was somehow, she told me like, well, I'm not a Hebrew, I ain't giving up none of my pork, I ain't giving up my holidays, not that I ain't like, I literally remember
Being like that.
I didn't even care, and my thing is, outside of the scripture, just health wise, pig is terrible. If you even pull the Bible out of the equation,
Exactly.
but I'm just saying for those who don't believe in the Bible, the pig is so.
2:9, yes, sir. Right.
Even a health class. But even in health class, when I went to curriculum school, even in health class, they was talking about how pork is bad for the human consumption because it contains worms called peanut worm, took down worms or something, and then later on I saw in a demonstration, you take the pork chop, put it in a pan, and pour Coca-Cola over it, and watch worms come up out of that.
How much time we got?
Yeah, that's true.
Speed it up. All right, y'all. We can continue it, but we got a time frame to keep up with. So I just want to get through it, and then we can continue the conversations through the rest of the day and all that stuff. Exactly. But what you'll find out too is, and what I like to do is a lot of the stuff that Most High told us to do is scientific, and it's not just because He said to do it. No, it has a deeper, a lot of times scientific reason why He tells us to do the stuff. All right. Did you read what you got?
Genesis 2:9. And out of the ground Yahweh Elohim made every tree grow that is pleasant to the sight and good for food, with the tree of life in the midst of the garden, and with the tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
Right. So the point that I want to make in regards to this, it says that every tree that was pleasant in the sight and good for food. So going to the Hebrew word for where that is machal, machal, and it says food, fruit, meat. So also too, we got to consider that majority of our food should come from the ground, not a laboratory, not a processing center, from the ground. I got something I'm putting together. It's on electromagnetic photography and crewing photography. And basically it deals with the aura of things. And it shows you basically the spirit in living things. And how if you take one piece of food that's processed, it has no life in it. And you're putting that dead thing into you and expecting to get nourishment, as we broke first was nutritious. When you get an apple fresh off a tree, that thing's radiating with light when you look at it under the criminal photography. And imagine eating that light, biting it, that's nourishing your body, giving you the sustenance that you need. And so that's what we need to be transferring our diets. That's what I want you to get with this food thing, because not only is fasting good, but if you're not eating right, you're out of shape. It destroys your body, gives you diseases. Right. And a lot of these chemicals, the body's made up of chemicals and all these different things, right? They have the science to know that in Fago Pop, if I put this most high fructose corn syrup, if I put Red 40, it messes with your mind. We wonder why in the hood and the convenience stores, it's all garbage junk food, literal garbage. It's not food, not food.
It costs more to eat healthy now. Like, they know what they're doing.
Oh, they know.
It costs more to eat healthy is so expensive, but to eat affordable is all like the junk.
But here's a little secret I want to put on that. As you become more spiritual, you need to eat less carnally, especially if you're eating more nutritious things and you tune your body the right way. Our body's out of tune, so we think we need 3 meals a day. But people over in India eat one day and they're good. One day, they get all their nutrients packed in, and it's enough to get them through the whole day because their plate is lit up, as opposed to a plate that's dead. It'll go through your whole day. And so that way, you spending less time physically, carnally thinking about eating. Now you can transfer that energy over to spiritually feeding yourself, because now the physical food part is not as important to you now. Oh, I can have my meal for the day. Now I can just focus and build my spirit up. His hand went up first. Right? You wanted to go first? Okay, you go first.
Well, I just was wondering if you guys felt like this closer you're getting into the most high, the more food doesn't even tickle you like it used to. Like I used to go out to eat, I would look like that was my thing. I would treat myself. Even sometimes I go to a restaurant by myself, like just because I felt like it was my treat. Now I go eat and the food does not hit the way it used to. It's like I'll get my favorite this, or something you go and you want your mouth the like water for it on or something like that, and I'll eat it and I'm just like not satisfied. So one thing I've noticed with this walk is like you get hungrier for the word, you're hungrier for help, you're hungrier for that, and then you'll look around, like especially if you're studying, and you might not have ate like all day, you won't even know it.
Exactly.
So there's been so many times I fasted by accident.
Yeah. That's usually how it happens. Because when you consciously do it, you're hungry. Yeah.
I told my sister Trisha many times, I was fasting by default.
Right.
Sometimes I didn't have the food. Most of the time I'm at the library doing so much stuff, I forgot to eat.
Exactly. Right.
And even I'm like, I forgot to eat.
Right.
Make something real quick.
Right.
Then I'll eat a little bit and be satisfied. During that day, I felt so rotten that food wasn't even a factor.
That's what we need to get to. Let this brother go real quick, because we got to keep it moving. Go ahead.
This one, that's a good question. Because it's in the back of my mind. So, I'm putting out to everybody's point, but I still have a question. So, the Creator created us, and Tree of Life is energy, which it came from the earth. So, it brings life. Do we need both? Because if the point is spiritual growth the word is spiritual growth.
Mhm.
So they're creating life because God gave their heat, the body, marriage.
Mhm.
So we can achieve it spiritually. We need both.
Yeah.
To get to put us to a higher level to Him.
Yeah.
So we need both.
Yeah. You're talking about the physical too? The physical? Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, there's a point that I wanted to bring this out. I went back to Genesis in the beginning when things were created, and the tree that he made, he said it was good for meat, food, things that come out of the earth, out of the ground. I'm just trying to basically make the point that the majority of our diet is not based off of what the scriptures say is food. It's what was good is good for food. And then in addition to the spiritual side, how are we going to get closer to him? You got to deny the carnal side. You got to give that spirit, the fasting part gives that spiritual side and how you feed your spirit that food as you mentioned. Make sense? Good. All right. Moving forward. So in lieu of time, I'll kind of brief it out. So what does it mean to fast? Basically, fasting breaks down to abstaining from eating. All right. Let me get the Hebrew word here. To some. Now you said to some to abstain from food. So it's real basic and to the point, right? Let's see what the next last say real quick. Okay, this is the last one. Because I wanted to mention something about it. So to abstain from food, you're denying your flesh. Because you mentioned it, you mentioned it too. You go to your favorite restaurant, you order your favorite entree with the 3 sides and all that, and you like, yeah, and you like, you ready to eat it, but sometimes it'll come and your spirit just ain't syncing up with it, and it don't taste the same way, And as you get more knowledge and information, that's how how it's really supposed to be, because in a lot of cultures that I study and looked at too, they don't eat things for taste. A lot of us base what we eat off of taste. I'm in the mood for this. I'm in the mood for that. But we disconnected to know that the Most High, the scriptures say that He created herbs for our healing. There's different things that we should be eating just for general health's sake. Oh, fall's coming in. I'm gonna eat more garlic. This is coming in. I'm gonna eat more turmeric. I'm gonna put these things, cumin and thyme and all these different things within your foods that you make. That's your natural medicine. You ain't looking for NyQuil 2 weeks later because you ain't been eating right, and now some virus from somebody else come to you. Your immune system's too weak to fight it because you haven't been building it up the whole time using the food. And we just read what food is supposed to be.
Our brain is functions to fight out. We got things that fight on certain things, and we're eating at the right thing will keep it up.
Mm-hmm.
Killing
it, literally.
So we gotta go to the doctor on something that to build it, and now you got this stuff that they need. We're basically doing something to help us. So they're putting us in the medicine. It's keeping us feeding ourselves.
Right. So real quick. So it's becoming common knowledge and information about fasting. I'm on Google right now, and just a quick search. Now, I implore everybody to do this themselves because the more knowledge, the better. Y'all learn something new, come tell me about it so I can implement, this hot stuff. So just can fasting cure disease? And I've watched countless documentaries and looked stuff up, university papers. Fasting allows deep physiological rest of the digestive organs, and the energy saved goes into self-healing and self-repairing. Fasting not only removes obstructions and helps the body to heal itself, it is also rejuvenating and life-extending. So you got Yeshua that said you're not praying and fasting because meat and these different things is hard to digest. It stays in your system. If you're not doing a detox, if you're not eating the right fibers and things to move through your system, it builds up in you, and that affects your spirit.
Yeah.
That'll affect if you hear what they got the Snickers commercial. You're not yourself when you're hungry. People acting crazy, they fighting and all that. Oh, I got this Snickers on. That's a spirit. You're giving yourself over to the carnal things, the things you put in your mouth, thinking that that's supposed to nourish you. When nah, you should be eating for life. We supposed to eat for life. That's the mindset we go into. When some take look, and we be bringing stuff to Shabbat. So, oh, Ebony bringing some weird stuff now. But no, we're trying to bring. Oh, everybody point to him. I didn't even look at you. I was glancing over.
I was looking around and you said, I was like,
If you recall, you might not recall. I made a meeting post a long time ago. They had a Snickers bar, like a demonic hand over it, and it said scriptures instead of Snickers. It said scriptures.
That's what you should be grabbing.
It
Yeah.
said, you're not yourself when you're hungry.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, that's nice. That's dope. That's dope.
you know, another thing you said, I didn't never pay attention to, you broke down what breakfast is supposed to be. Ever since you said that, I don't even be wanting. Listen, breakfast is like breakfast is break fast. And I'm like, when I think of breakfast, I think of eggs, maybe like fresh toast. Heavy, and you do be full, like you do
Now-
be full of energy.
Another throw shade, but we have eggs breakfast every day here, up until y'all came for the most part. And I took part in it. You know what I'm saying? But look, moving forward, it's just to be made aware, be made conscious of it, because you are breaking a fast. For instance, like especially if you extend for a certain period of time, it's really every night you fast. Yeah. The effects of fasting kick in after about, I think, 4 to 6 hours. The healing and all that stuff starts to kick in. And you got to remember, if you're eating meals back to back to back, your system's never resting. It's never digesting the other stuff, because it takes time to process this food that you're putting in it. Give it some time to break it all down. That's why you want to be having all this nutrients-dense food. So now, over the long course, it breaks it down. You stay with energy. You don't think, oh, 12 o'clock, I got to eat something. 5 o'clock, I got to eat something. Nah. Let's break it down throughout the day, guys. Yeah, generally I fast on the Shabbat myself. For years, when I first came to the faith, because it was like I just wanted to consume the word. That was my meal from sunset Friday to sunset Saturday. I'm consuming the word. Now, if I have to go move around or something, I will drink some water, because I'm not the greatest with staying hydrated. We all should be drinking a good amount of water too. That's the other thing. Dip these other liquids and stuff. Make sure that you put a lot of water in your system, because that's one of the major building blocks the Most High used to create the whole planet Earth is water. Yeah. They brainwash you, yeah. Now, when you wake up, I'm not saying to not eat, but look, when you break a fast, it should be something light. It should be fruit, like fresh fruit, vegetables, something like that. Your system can easily get into break, because actually you could do damage. Say you do an extended fast. I've done like a 3-day fast, no food. I did a 5-day fast, water. Okay, well, just water. I guess we would call it fast. It's a different kind of fast or whatever, but I subtracted solid foods. And then when you come off of them fasts, when you get to a certain point, you won't even want to eat. The hunger pains go away. That's why it gives more insight, which we probably won't have time to get into. But when Yeshua went and fasted 40 days, like, oh man, I'll die out there. Well, if you hydrated the correct way and your body's already tuned with the nutrition it needs, when you go do an extended fast, your body will just transform and just straight be healing. And you'll be, it says here, what? You'll be conserving, it'll be conserving energy, and what do you say? And it's rejuvenating. When you fast, it rejuvenates your body. They say if you fast, don't eat anything for 72 hours, all the cells in your body repair, all of them. If you fast, it can kill the cancer. All these different things that they don't tell us. What's funny to me, a lot of people get sick. You laying in the bed, got a cold. Bring them some soup and now the water I can understand. You want to be hydrated, but the best thing to do when you're sick is fast. You don't eat nothing. Nope. You don't eat nothing. You let your body work on it because when you put that stuff in there, it has to process the food, and it can't work on a disease if you I'm gonna stop at one. Basically, you stop at one. Let me sum it up. We got 3 minutes, and then we done. So basically, these scriptures, I want y'all to write them down because we got a lot of time. This is on the screen here. It says 1 Corinthians 3:16. Know ye not that ye are the temple of Yahweh, and the spirit of Yahweh dwelleth in you. So if the spirit of him dwells in us, what makes us think that we don't need to be mindful we put in our temple if the spirit of the Most High is supposed to dwell in us? You want to put things that he created for sustenance for us. So now I just support everybody to having a mindset to look at what you eat. See, look up how it breaks down. Not only in the do we got pork in it? Nah. Now look, I'm not saying to treat yourself. You know, we going cook out. I'm eat. Tone got crazy jerk chicken. We about to get it on. You know, what do you call it? S'mores and all that stuff we want to do at the fire. But in moderation, you know, you don't want to be a glutton on these things that we look at the rest of the world, especially our people, are dying from. So we want to try to change our diet and eat for life instead of for taste and pleasure. Right?
Just to answer that real quick, like as far as what we're doing now, like technically, if I was eating properly on a regular, this is the time to celebrate. This is a point in time that wouldn't be on a regular. We're coming with this big feast and different meats. This would be something to celebrate too. It wouldn't be something that's done so common with overflow with different meats and stuff like that. This is the time when we celebrate.
Right. You got anything you want to add, Tom?
No, everything. All this is good. We don't think about. We think about food a lot, and it's important, especially in light of the scriptures that we looked at in terms of Yeshua talking to his disciples. You know, letting them know that they really, when you want action to be able to things to be manifest in the spirit, there has to be that separation from the carnal, from carnality. And we talk about fasting, that's what that really is just that separation from carnality, that kind of entering into the spirit realm. That's what fasting is all about. When we're not constantly feeding our flesh. We have to feed the flesh. We're human beings. That's how we live. Food really is fuel for our bodies. But when we're getting into these spiritual things, we have to feed the spirit. And just like we sit up here and feed our bodies, we have to also feed that spirit. So we really have to have that balance.
I think we should feed that spirit more.
Oh, yeah, for sure, yeah.
We should feed the spirit more than we feed the flesh. Because whichever one you feed the most is going to be the strongest.
Yeah.
So if you feed your flesh more than you feed your spirit, guess what you're going to have? You're going to have a fleshly vessel that's lusted after fleshly things. Right. So the more you feed your spirit, the less you feed your flesh.
Exactly.
Right? The more closer you get to it.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Hey, you remember that story about the two poles? That transformed into two lines.
Gotcha.
One love, one hate. You know, one flesh, one ruach. So they fight all the time, every day. Everybody happens. It's a battle. Like Chris said, which one wins? The one you beat the most.
That's right. And with that, I want to say Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
Shalom.
Shalom.
Yes.